Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty. Today I am putting together a small kit of supplies and creating some interactive layout elements. And this is part of the design team over at CKC, where we are inspired by a kit, and here is the kit we are inspired by, and then we pull supplies to make a project. Today I am doing the mini version for the design team. So I am starting my project off with these base elements because this is going to be the structure of my interactive layouts. And then here is my little kit of supplies, which is partial packages left over from other projects. So I focused very heavily on the Pink Fresh Studio supplies in the inspiration kit. And there were some die cut elements in there, and then in addition I pulled some chipboard stickers, some regular stickers, and a few other things. Now this pattern paper was directly out of that inspiration kit. These words papers I chose from a word type paper in that kit. I have a floral paper in black rather than blue, and then a few other bits and pieces here, all from my scrap bin to put together these elements. And these mini kits are great for doing these small projects and using up scraps. Now this is packaging, like I said, from some Pink Fresh Studio embellishments, and I'm actually going to use the labels on this package to create even more embellishments, and I'm going to create little banners out of these. So I'm just trimming them down, not only to kind of get rid of any excess printing, but also to kind of focus in on the part that is the decorative part, which happens to be the title of their collection kit, which is called Noteworthy. So that made a very nice little title label that I'm going to put on something. And then the next step is to cut down these packaging elements or just your pattern papers into 4x6 and 3x4 blocks. Now, of course, you could do this in other sizes, but those are very common photo sizes, and these little interactive books can be great for adding extra photos to layouts, traveler's notebooks, and such style projects. Now, notice the back of some of these packaging has the printing of the manufacturing process on there. I will either glue those down to my project so you won't ever see them, or I can cover them up with more pattern paper. And here's just a quick tip when you're trying to line up two pieces of pattern paper to glue back to back. I set them flat down on a flat surface and then get them close and then tap them with the edge of my hand to get the ends lined up, and then that usually does the trick. Now sometimes my cutting isn't perfect, so I will just kind of trim off that tiny sliver of excess, and then we are ready to build this project. I am using washi tape here to be the construction element to this project, and some washi isn't as sticky as it could be, and so you'll see me later adding some extra glue to this washi as we go. When I put these cards together, I am sure to leave a slight gap in between them, and that allows for the thickness of the cardstock to fold across itself, if that makes any sense. And then I'm just going to use some punches to create lifting tabs on these, as well as decorative spots to hold embellishments. And here I'm starting with a lifting tab. So I'm just going to fold this circle in half, and I'm going to glue it to the edge of this little booklet, and that will be a hint to your readers to go ahead and grab that little tab and open it up. Now, this isn't my favorite shape of little tabs, but when we get to the final look at these projects, you can see other shapes that I have created with other scraps of paper. So that is the structure of this project, and it's up to you at this point to do some decorating. I'm going to use some of these little banners, and then I will go ahead and use that punch, but instead of punching, and this is where I realized my tape was not sticking well enough, and I remember that I could just add a little bit of liquid glue to that later, and you'll see me do that, in fact, later. So I grab that circle punch and a piece of pattern paper, and I'm going to just punch out half a circle instead of a whole circle. This is one of the things that I really love about circle punches, is that you can get a couple of different varieties of looks out of them. And I think the geometrics of the circle element brings a lot to, rectangular layouts and photos. And my little embellishment cluster doesn't feel complete without a kind of third element. I often work in threes when I'm putting clusters together. So I am just searching through these little packages to see if I can find a third thing. And without making you watch me sort through projects too much, I do indeed find a small third item. There it is. And I go ahead and add that there. And that's just enough to make it feel finished. And that is my first little booklet complete. Now, you can do different styles of these little booklets here. I have 2 3x4 cards, and you do have to snip your washi tape in the middle if you're going to have separately foldable pages there. And you could leave the 3x4 cards as the front edge of these booklets, or you could do like I'm doing here and create a third page to this. Now, because it already has 2 pages, it already has some washi tape on there, so I will just line up the edge of the washi tape and overlap it. Depending on the translucency of your washi tape, this may or may not work out, but my washi tape is opaque enough that I can just cover it up. If you have something like a stripe washi tape where you can line up the stripe pattern against itself, that can be a good style of washi tape to use for this project. So I went ahead and finished up the third page to this booklet, and then we can move on to another style. Not only can you go vertical with these booklets, but you can also mix and match page sizes. So here I've got a 4x6 front cover, and then I'm going to sandwich in the middle a 3x4. The only difference here with this 3x4 page is when you trim your washi tape, you'll need to trim out the little corner of the size difference between the 4x6 and the 3x4. And I will add a back page to this little booklet as well with another 4x6, and I am lining up that washi tape again with the existing washi tape, and then kind of adjusting everything and adding more glue before I put that down. And at that point, I just realized that my 2 4x6 pages aren't the same size. So I made a cutting error somewhere, but I'm not going to let that stop me. I will go ahead and finish up this little booklet and fold it all together and then just trim off that excess. When I add photos into these booklets, I tend to trim down the photos to leave a border anyway, so I will just have to trim the photos a little bit extra. So here is where that washi tape in the very beginning was peeling up before I realized to go ahead and add some extra glue. So I fixed that one, and that finishes off all of these little booklets. And you can see all these different styles here. Now, I'm not done with this video yet, because if you're a traditional 12x12 scrapper, you may be wondering how these are going to fit into a page protector on your layout. And I will show you a tip for that coming up next after we finish flipping through these little booklets. All right, I am going to pull out a page protector and a 12x12 sheet, and now this could be any size page really, but if you put your pages in protectors, this is what you're going to want to do. You can glue the back side of your booklet and then slide it into the top of your protector where it can just easily open and access. Just remember to design your layout around the space that you're going to need to glue that down. However, what if you want these elements to be in the middle of your layout somewhere? So what I do is slide an element into my protector. I will grab a permanent marker and I will mark just the corners with a small dot of permanent ink where I want this page protector to open up. And how we're going to cause it to open up is to cut it. And here's a tip that I learned from Alice Bowl over at Scraphappy. And if you put a piece of foam inside, take a ballpoint pen that's retractable and retract the ink pen part, and then push down on top of those ink marks that you made on your page protector. And now I'm just pretending here. I will do this for real in a future video coming up soon, but for now I want to save my page protector so I can use it in that future video. Okay, back to this project. The next step is to slice in between those push marks, and that helps keep the edge of this slice from tearing out. So that is what the ballpoint pen trick is all about. Now, if you need help keeping things straighter, go ahead and use a ruler either for marking your dots in the first place, for slicing, etc., etc. Once you have that slice in there, you can put some glue on the back of your flap, slide it into the page protector, and glue it down to your project. And remember, again, you need to design your project around that space that you need to save. And you can lay out these booklets anywhere you want on your page, even if you want them at a diagonal angle, vertical, horizontal, whatever it is you want. So that is my mini project for this time around. Now here I am just showing you what a pretend booklet might look like. I can save space for hidden journaling on these booklets. And or photos, depending on what you want. And perhaps this booklet is just a things that makes me happy booklet, although it was really just leftover photos from a bin on my desk. So that is the mini project I have for you this time. I hope you got something useful out of this video, and if you did, I really appreciate a thumbs up. And I will be back next week with more crafty videos for you, including some layouts and hopefully that interactive page. Until then, have an artful day.